Why did I come to Utopia Wellness? Well, it started with a small lesion on my hand that got diagnosed as squamous cell skin cancer. After the first biopsy, it grew back. They biopsied again, it grew back. I went to a second dermatologist who did a huge Mohs procedure and took out a piece of my skin at the back of my hand larger than the size of a quarter. By the time my stitches were ready to be removed, this cancer had spread a ½ inch on either side of my suture line. I walked in to his office and he looked at it and said, "I don't know what that is, but it's not cancer because we got it all." At that point, I was furious. I knew it felt like cancer, it was behaving like the cancer that they had taken off, and I walked out of that office vowing never to go back, and I had to find some other way to take care of my cancer. I first landed in Spain at the Budwig Center because all of my reading on alternative ways to take care of cancer came down to the Budwig diet. So I went to a center in Spain where they followed Dr. Budwig's protocol and her diet, and along with a lot of other treatments, including magnets and oxygen, color therapy. But it was only a 2-week program, and I came home, and what happened over there was that my cancer continued to spread. They used some therapies that brought it out all over the whole back of my hand. And so I knew the cancer was still spreading, and it was very aggressive. It was just, but over there I came across Bill Henderson's book, Cancer Free. And lo and behold, one of the authors of that book is Dr. Garcia here at Utopia Wellness. I live in Florida, and Dr. Garcia essentially was in my backyard. I had gone all the way to Spain, only to find out that all I had to do was drive 2 hours. I came up to see Dr. Garcia, and the first visit was, I guess, life-changing. I was going to use another word, but it was really life-changing. He listened to me for not very long, and then sort of said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I've got to go caregive for my mother in Maine to give my brother some relief for a couple weeks, and then I'll start." And he just sort of looked at me and said, "Do you want to go take care of your mother, or do you want to live?" And at that moment, it was decision time. And it was probably the first time in my life that I had made a decision for myself. That was a Friday, and I walked in his door on Monday morning. I canceled my trip to Maine and let my brother do what he needed to do for my mother. And I spent 8 weeks here on the program. And then I came up pretty much once or twice a week after that for a couple months. The program taught me for the first time how to truly care about myself, for myself. I spent my whole life putting everybody else first. And as part of all of that, I had become very overweight. My body had become very toxic. There was very good reason that I couldn't avoid cancer. Cancer was probably the best thing that happened to me, and this program was the next best thing that happened to me. It addressed that one of the biggest things, it wasn't just the IV therapy, the biggest component was the emotional component. I had been carrying around for years a lot of anger, a lot of, I don't even know how to put it. I didn't like myself very much, and I really let everybody walk all over me. By the time I finished, it took a lot of hard work, and For those of you who can't see your cancer, while I was working on my cancer the hardest, my cancer flared. My arm, from my wrist to about mid-arm here, became red, feverish, and it hurt. Spending the time to work on the problems that had plagued me for pretty much most of my life, while you're doing that, your body is so busy working on that that I don't know, my cancer just had a horrible reaction. But as soon as I really turned some corners and made progress with my problems, the cancer settled down, and pretty soon it was on its way to not being there at all. By the time I left the program, there were just remnants of cancer, which it was a transition from being a cancer patient to a person who, by the way, has cancer. I really didn't think about my cancer anymore. It didn't bother me. It didn't worry me, because I knew that it could get better. I could visibly see it get better. And it was just a matter of time before it would go away, that my immune system had been tuned, my emotions had been cleared, and I was going to get better. I am sitting in front of this camera right now, and it's been, I would say, a year and a half since I first walked through Dr. Garcia's door. And I am totally cancer-free. I don't really think about cancer. I don't worry about it at all anymore. I would recommend this program to anyone who's willing to work hard on not just freeing themselves of the physical cancer, but working on creating a life that's full of joy and that's really full of positive feelings, positive thoughts. When you wake up in the morning, you're glad to be alive, because you know that even though you may still be carrying cancer around, it's the best day of your life. Mark, I think that's